On this Sunday night,
we are essentially giving away our oil for free.
Alberta's premier is calling it a crisis. Now her government is stepping in. But is it enough to boost oil prices and the Canadian economy?
And ready to blast off. Canadian David Saint-Jacques is just hours away from his first trip to space. What awaits him in orbit?
And later, a proposal gone terribly wrong.
It's like finding a needle in a haystack.
A ring lost and found in a New York sewer. How the NYPD cracked the case in our moment of the day you don't want to miss. This is The National. Story out of Alberta tonight. Premier Notley is announcing last hour something no Alberta government has done in decades: mandatory cuts to oil production.
When markets aren't working, when companies are forced to sell our resources for pennies on the dollar, then we have a responsibility to act.
Starting January, the province is imposing a cut of 325,000 barrels a day, 8.7% of Alberta's production, lasting up to a year. The announcement comes after months of rising political pressure and falling Albertan oil prices, so low it's costing the oil patch tens of millions of dollars a day. Protesters have pointed the finger at Ottawa and the failure to build more pipelines.
Support the industry, help us out. We need to get the economy in Alberta going. It's a sad, sad state.
The province is clearly feeling the pain. While Canada's jobless rate as a whole has been relatively stable, Alberta's unemployment rate has recently been rising. Notley's Conservative rival, Jason Kenney, just called for a 10% production cut.
An orderly short-term government-mandated curtailment is necessary.
Cut supply and the price should rise. It's policy Notley now owns. All right, Rafi Boudjikania is outside the Alberta legislature underneath a lot of snow with more on this. Rafi, industry has not all been on the same page with this, so what is the reaction so far?
Rosemary, some of the major players in the oil and gas sector are divided over this. Now, some of the big companies, the ones that have their own refinery operations, the ones that own gas stations, are against this. So these are the ones that, to a certain extent, control the product from when it goes out of the ground to when you pay for it at the pumps. They're saying government should not be interfering in the market. Meanwhile, other companies say, you know what, this is an inherently political problem and government does need to step in to solve it. Of course, that's what Rachel Notley's government is hoping to do here. Notley is essentially saying this is going to help protect jobs and it's going to help the economy.
Our best guess is that this intervention will provide the kind of predictability and stability to industry players to allow them to keep people on because they can see a light at the end of the tunnel.
Obviously, this isn't just about oil and this really unusual public policy move on the part of the Alberta government, but this is about politics at play very much as well. What can you tell us about that, Rafi?
Rosemary, Albertans are heading to the polls very shortly by next May, and Rachel Notley's NDP wants to look like it's helping out the oil industry as much as possible. Her big play for that was touting the Trans Mountain project's expansion, and of course that's not happening now. A federal court order has delayed it. Notley kept pointing out how her chief rival, Jason Kenney of the United Conservative Party, was part of the previous federal Tory government that couldn't get the Trans Mountain project started. She's now lost that talking point for a while, and Notley and Kenney are each making public appearances where they're trying to look as industry friendly as possible. No doubt that's going to keep up until next spring, Rosemary.
And I happen to notice, Rafi, that the announcement for an increase in oil prices expected to happen at around the same time next spring is what the Premier's saying. Rafi, thank you for that. Appreciate it. Mandatory cuts are a desperate measure, of course, but these are desperate times. Several factors have conspired to slam Alberta's oil sector. Here's a look. Right now, oil price for light crude is already low, and Alberta's oil sands heavy crude is trading for far less. Today, just $15 a barrel. Why the gap? Oil sands bitumen is heavier and needs intensive refining. A lot of those refineries in the U.S. Midwest have shut down for winter maintenance. And while oil sands production has increased, pipeline capacity to get the oil to market has not. Moving it by rail is an option, but it takes longer, is more expensive, and is eating into now thin profits. In the meantime, Alberta's oil is piling up in storage at prices that are unsustainably cheap. So will Notley's move be enough to turn that trend around? For more, I'm joined by Peter Tertsakian. He's an economist and the executive director of the ARC Energy Research Institute in Calgary. Nice of you to join us, Peter. So will this restriction of oil production, at least for a year, will it work?
I believe it'll work, and it won't really take a year. I think it'll resolve itself much sooner. What really needs to happen is the inventories need to draw down with this 325,000 barrel per day cut. I expect we're going to start to see the easing of the congestion probably by spring at the latest.
So it's really a supply and demand issue, and they're trying to control the supply.
Yeah, there's a supply and demand balancing between the amount the pipelines and the railways can take and how much is being produced. And then there's also additional to that, the inventories have to draw down.
Does it do anything in the long term, though? Because there's an underlying problem here beyond this glut. Does it change anything long term?
You're right. There is a series of time frames. This affects the immediate time frame. In the midterm, we would expect to see more railways and hopefully pipeline construction. But really, there has to be a much more holistic effort in terms of managing the supply demand and the construction of more takeaway capacity, and to ensure that this does not happen again.
And finally, is there any risk to this kind of thing, to this kind of move, to getting involved in sort of, putting your will on the economy, if you will?
Yeah, well, there's always risks with policy implementations, but I think this one is one that had to be taken on behalf of the people of Alberta who own the resource and on behalf of a large fraction of the industry that was facing potentially a very difficult price situation and looming unemployment. So I think the risks of not doing anything far outweighed the risk of doing this.
Okay. Peter Tertsakian, thanks for your perspective tonight. Appreciate it, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, turning now to tomorrow's highly anticipated mission to the International Space Station. If all goes well, astronaut David Saint-Jacques will be the first Canadian on board the station in 5 years. Now, despite a series of problems and delays plaguing the Russian space program, Saint-Jacques is confident the launch will be a success. He has to be. Our Chris Brown is at the Baikonur Cosmodrome, where the crew has been eagerly running down the clock.
It's almost launch time, and with the Soyuz rocket in position and ready to go, today a Russian Orthodox priest came to bless it alongside the workers who helped build it. There was even enough holy water left over for an enthusiastic blessing for the media too.
The hours leading up to the launch are filled with all kinds of rituals for the astronauts and cosmonauts before they fly. They'll watch a movie together the night before. They'll get their hair cut and toast with a glass of champagne. And when they leave their hotel rooms, they'll sign the door.
The pre-flight news conference is another tradition, with the astronauts and cosmonauts in quarantine behind the glass, and a big audience out front that included Saint-Jacques' wife and children on the other side.
I am getting excited. I am already a little bit on my way to the launch pad, so to speak, and I catch myself fantasizing what it's really going to be like up there.
Still, everyone here knows the last Soyuz flight in October failed to reach orbit, with its crew escaping at high altitude. So, with his family right in front of him, Saint-Jacques spoke at length about his comfort level, about his trip.
As crew members, I would say almost a reassuring thing to witness how even in such dire circumstances, high in the stratosphere, failure, still they came back to Earth to their family completely safe.
The mission comes at an exciting time, with new spacecraft built by companies such as SpaceX expected soon. That eventually will create more opportunities for more Canadians to fly, says the head of the Canadian Space Agency.
There's going to be a different way of looking at how we bring astronauts to the International Space Station. We're going to have to consider whether or not we still need to maintain the 6-month long duration missions. Can we make them shorter?
But that's for the future. Blastoff for David Saint-Jacques is at 6:31 Eastern Time Monday, then a rendezvous at the space station and the next 6 months orbiting the Earth. Chris Brown, CBC News in Baikonur, Kazakhstan.
Chris mentioned some of the rituals they do before Russian space launches. There is another one that he didn't touch on that dates all the way back to the early days of the Soviet space program. This is the crew planting a tree earlier this week in Cosmonaut Grove, as they do before every mission. It symbolizes goodwill and honors all those who've come before. As you can see, they've been doing this for a long time. That big one on the far left was planted by legendary cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin all the way back in 1961. That was just before he became the first human being to orbit the Earth. Now, for a sense of what Saint-Jacques is in for, we reached out to retired Canadian astronaut Dave Williams. He has 2 space missions under his belt, including a trip to the ISS as part of the crew of the Space Shuttle Endeavour in 2007. Now, Williams is planning on waking up bright and early tomorrow to watch the launch live from the Ontario Science Centre in Toronto. And that's also where I met up with him this afternoon in a mock-up of mission control. It's been a while since your last launch, but do you still get excited for launch day?
I'm really excited. Tomorrow morning, the 3rd Canadian will go to the International Space Station for a long-duration mission. It's going to be incredible.
You know, we saw from the recent Soyuz failure that unexpected things can happen. But tell me, what are some of the smaller things that, as an astronaut, kind of hit you by surprise that you really just don't get a full appreciation for until you're sitting in that hot seat?
You know, we spend literally thousands of hours of training. David has been working so hard with his crewmates to be able to train for everything that's going to go well. They train for anything that could happen, any emergency that could happen. But it's all those small little things. When you finally get to space and you're going to sleep for the first time in space, how do you brush your teeth in the absence of gravity? And what caught me by surprise was the staging in the space shuttle, where the solid rocket boosters separate. We're under the power of the 3 main engines. On Soyuz, you have 2 staging moments, and you're thrown forward against your harness. You accelerate again under the power of the 2nd stage and the 3rd stage. It's truly the ride of a lifetime.
The simulators just don't do that justice.
It's hard to capture that in the simulator, that transition in G-force, where you're thrown back in your seat, experiencing 3 times the force of gravity, thrown forward against your harness as you get a brief deceleration during staging, and then rapid acceleration again.
6 months, a long time to be up there on the ISS. Do you have concerns about that length of a trip?
Well, 6 months, you get a lot of changes that take place in your body. It's a long time to be away from home. When you come back after 6.5 months in space, you lose bone mass, you lose muscle strength and things. But it's an amazing experience being able to be in space for that period of time, doing research to understand how we adapt to space, but getting to see the Earth beneath us.
Dave Williams, nice to chat with you.
My pleasure.
Montreal boxer Adonis Stevenson is in the fight of his life tonight. He is in a medically induced coma after a knockout blow to the head during a match in Quebec City last night. And once again, the alarm is being raised about boxing and brain injuries. The CBC's Matt Damoul looks at the not-so-sweet side of the so-called sweet science.
The fight went on for 11 rounds, but cornered against the ropes, Montreal boxer Adonis Stevenson got a flurry of blows to the head and went down after a knockout punch. Stevenson was defending his World Boxing Council light heavyweight title. It was his 10th title defense since winning the belt in 2013. After losing to Ukrainian boxer Alexander Vosdik, Stevenson was helped back to his locker room. Promoter Yvon Michel said he got a call saying the boxer wasn't doing well.
Il était confus un peu et les médecins n'ont pas voulu prendre de chance. Ils l'ont mis sur la civière.
The 41-year-old Stevenson was taken to a hospital in Quebec City where his condition deteriorated. Michel tweeted late in the night that the boxer was in intensive care. Dr. Howard Churtko is a neurologist who teaches at the University of Toronto.
The brain is really like a bowl of jello inside the skull, and during a boxing match repeatedly it struck, the brain is shaking, there's shearing forces, and it's only, and it's cumulative. The more hits to the head, the more damage to the brain.
From a medical perspective, Churtko says he supports the idea of banning boxing, but not everyone agrees. Mitch Chuvalo is the son of Canadian boxing icon George Chuvalo. Mitch says he has a love-hate relationship with the sport, which left his father with brain damage.
I don't think we can outlaw boxing. I think it might make us feel good as a sporting nation to do that, but when we do that, boxing is going to go underground. I think it has to be better monitored. I don't know how that's going to happen. That discussion needs to start.
The hospital hasn't commented on Stevenson's condition, but it's reported that he's in a medically induced coma. Matt Damour, CBC News, Montreal.
Okay, let's take you to Alberta now, where a couple says they were driven out of their paramedic and firefighter jobs for being too gay. They're married, just like lots of other people in their workplace. But as Rosa Marcatelli from our Go Public team explains, they say they were expected to follow different rules.
It's nice to have us both home for a change.
Managing work and family is now more complicated for Sherry and Alyssa Monk. The couple says after work became unbearable, they had to quit their paramedic and firefighter jobs in a small Alberta town.
If you are not in the closet and hiding it, you are seen as flaunting it.
They say the then deputy chief told them they were making colleagues uncomfortable.
The conversation started with, this isn't because you're gay, but there are some people that will never accept same-sex marriage and are offended by the use of the word wife. We asked, would this apply to everybody? We were one of 5 married couples on the department. And this manager said, no, because you're the only couple we've had complaints about. We were also the only gay one.
They started recording meetings with managers.
I think public displays of affection, whether that's physical or verbal, stand out more. Because you're both women, than it does in heterosexual population.
When we asked if everybody would be getting the same set of rules, we only met resistance.
Pincher Creek administrators didn't answer Go Public's questions, saying the case is before the Alberta Human Rights Commission. They deny any discrimination. Paramedic James Raffin is a former co-worker.
Them being in the workplace and other people's religious sentiments being offended by their presence became more of a source of conflict.
This advocate says discrimination can still be an issue, especially in some small towns and traditionally masculine workplaces. She runs diversity training programs.
We don't want to ever interrupt people's religious values or whatever the values that drive their beliefs, but you actually can't openly discriminate against LGBTQ people in Canada.
The Monks say they struggled financially for months. Their human rights complaint could take years to resolve. Rosa Marcatelli, CBC News, Calgary.
And if you have a story you want to see go public, get a hold of our team. Send an email to gopublic@cbc.ca.
Now a look at developing stories that we are watching tonight, including a stolen car in Toronto with a baby inside. The car was taken to Toronto's West End around 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Police say it has a 2-month-old baby boy inside. For those in the city, the intersection where the car disappeared is Islington Avenue and Satterley Road. The vehicle is a 2005 Toyota Sienna. This is the license plate. Police are asking the thief to leave the child unharmed and to abandon the car and call in its location. First Nations leaders say they're outraged, and police in Northern Ontario are investigating after this video was posted to social media last night.
Surfing from that up here. Go to the hospital. You go to the hospital. That's a...
They got that on camera.
You spit on me. You do not spit on me!
The video seems to show a Thunder Bay police officer hitting someone on a stretcher, later identified as a 17-year-old Indigenous girl. She was being taken to the hospital, though it's not clear why. It's also not known what happened leading up to that incident. Accusations, though, of systemic racism against First Nations people have plagued the Thunder Bay police force for years.
Excuse me, it's still ahead on The National. A growing trend that'll have you reading while you watch. But will viewers stick out subtitles? Inside the emerging industry of foreign language films. Ahead.
Plus, the NYPD put out an APB for a groom-to-be with serious butterfingers, the search for a ring, and then the couple to go with it is our moment.
And the NHL sets the stage for another expansion team. Briar Stewart takes us to Seattle, where it's football fans who are excited.
Seahawks! Very excited about hockey, yes. I love it. More pro sports is better.
Okay, do you think there are a lot of hockey fans here in Seattle?
Absolutely. It'll sell out.
We're here. I've got lots of friends that have now moved here. We need our hockey team.
cradle of Canadian aviation looks pretty much as it did in 1909, when the Silver Dart flew over Badek Bay, the first heavier-than-air flight in the British Empire. The small group who made it happen included the inventive Alexander Graham Bell and a daring pilot named J.A.D. McCurdy.
I made this little flight, about 60 feet high, 3/4 of a mile across the bay.
As McCurdy flew, Alexander Graham Bell watched.
It was then he said, "Oh, my boy, this may have made history."
An exact replica of the Silver Dart 95 years later.
It's incredible.
Jane Shapley, McCurdy's niece and a pilot herself, says her uncle knew he was part of something special.
Remember, he was a protege of Alexander Graham Bell, so I'm sure he picked up understood the big picture from the very beginning, and understood that this was a breakthrough.
That first flight was the liftoff for Canada's own aviation industry. An expansive, undeveloped country needed air travel. And so began the era of the bush pilots, who opened up Canada's north. The Second World War accelerated aviation technology. Canada developed a fledgling airline industry. And by the 1950s, this country was on the cutting edge with such aircraft as the CF-100.
We had a huge pool of engineering talent in this country and a truly can-do attitude. The Canada of the 1950s in the aeronautical world didn't take a back seat to anybody at all.
In the history of aviation in Canada, there is one development, one achievement that falls in the category of what might have been, the Avro Aero. Canada was on the verge of being a global power in fighter aircraft, but the Aero was expensive, and it was scrapped by Prime Minister Diefenbaker in 1959.
You realize how ineffective it would have been.
Still, Canada's aviation industry has never looked back. Bombardier is a global giant in regional aircraft. CAE is #1 in flight simulators. Canada's first astronaut, Marc Garneau, was the first non-American flight engineer on a space shuttle. And the Canada Arm is an orbiting billboard for Canada's aerospace technology. Today, a multi-billion-dollar industry that owes a small debt to a few dreamers in Badek, Nova Scotia, nearly a century ago. Eric Sorensen, CBC News, Ottawa.
There she goes!
After a 2-hour wait, the rains finally subsided, and the replica flyer trundled down its runway, tantalizingly close to taking off before splashing into a mud puddle.
My husband just died, and I feel relief. I mean, maybe it's because I don't have to lie anymore, or maybe it's because... Enough about my story. Let's figure out yours.
How do you measure up, statistically speaking, to your fellow Canadians? Find out on The Stats of Life. New season, coming January 11th on CBC.
It's over, and the Vegas Golden Knights will play for the Stanley Cup.
That's the NHL Cinderella story last spring. The Vegas Golden Knights making it all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals in their very first season. Now, the league is looking set for another gold rush with yet another expansion team. The Board of Governors is voting on Tuesday, and it's all but assured that Seattle will be home to the NHL's 32nd franchise. As Briar Stewart tells us, the city is more than ready to hit the ice.
Seahawks! Seahawks!
Seattle is full of football fanatics.
Hawks!
Decked out in blue and green, more than ready to cheer on the Seahawks.
Whoa!
So how do these NFL fans feel about an NHL team coming to town?
So do you think that this is a hockey town? Like,
I think so. I think we've got lots of hockey fans. I grew up in Eastern Washington, and we love hockey over there.
Did you put money down for season tickets?
12 tickets. 12.
How come?
Because we like hockey.
In fact, 32,000 deposits were put down for season tickets for Seattle's NHL team.
Are you working hard?
Proof John Barr says that the city is a hockey market.
Stand up, get up, get up, get up.
Today he's coaching this young team the very basics, how to handle a stick and even how to stay upright on skates. For the past 6 years, he's been campaigning for an NHL team to come here.
I just
wanted a reason to bring the hockey community together. It's a really fragmented market. Everybody's transplants and they root for different teams, so we don't even connect each other.
As for sustaining a team in the long run, he believes Seattle, a tech hub with highly paid workers, will have no problem filling seats.
The demographics are great. It's a big city. I compare it to like Denver and Detroit a bit with a higher income.
This arena is expected to be home to the new NHL team. It was where the NBA team, the Supersonics, played before it was relocated. Now this arena is going through a $700 million upgrade.
The hope is to have the arena and the new team in place for the 2021 season.
Right point, Biega, a long shot, scores!
And a new team so close to the border could be good for Vancouver. It will mean more choice when it comes to see a game, and it could stoke a greater sense of competition.
Seattle coming into the NHL is something that I think would be one of the most intense rivalries down the road in the NHL. Call it the Battle of the I-5 or whatever you want to call it, but I think this would be a galvanizing aspect to the fan base here.
There you go.
And for those in Washington State who are trying to grow the sport, it means finally one pro team they can all rally around.
Here, I'll put it there.
Briar Stewart, CBC News, Seattle.
I'm cheering for those kids. That's who I'm cheering for. Okay, next on the National. On the eve of the COP24 Climate Summit, two perspectives on one global problem. First, Nella Ayed takes us to Poland. It's getting ready to host the world, but trying to tackle its own brutal smog problem at the same time. Then Adrian meets the Canadians behind a new art installation that asks you to take a hard look at the human impact on Earth.
The Delta says there are 0 wild mammals left, and it used to be one of the greatest, concentrations of wildlife in Africa. The Niger Delta is the largest delta in Africa.
And we've done that, right?
Humans have done that, yeah.
They're coming to your door.
My name is Scott and I'm from PhoneSafe. I'm currently taking applications for your rate reduction on long distance.
Those offer incredible.
They're coming into your home with aggressive television ads.
Unitel, save up to 35% off Bell Canada long distance. Call now.
It's happening right across the country, and the bombardment of ads can be overwhelming.
Some ideas become extinct, like high long-distance rates.
They're called long-distance service companies, and in the Metro Toronto area alone, there are more than 30 of them out to get your business. It's a service that Bell Canada still offers, but no longer monopolizes. In the mid-'80s, the CRTC told Bell to share the long-distance business market. This past summer, it told Bell it also has to share the residential market. Most of the push for change came from Unitel, Bell's main competitor. Like Bell, it has its own infrastructure and phone lines and is considered a network. Unitel says the beneficiary of this kind of competition is the consumer.
We're offering prices that are at a minimum 15% lower than the telephone companies, and depending on the package that you can sign up with Unitel, you can save up to 35% off the telephone company prices.
There are other companies in the market smaller than Unitel known as resellers. Companies like VisionTel. It has some facilities, but mostly it rents time and phone lines from the bigger companies. With lower overhead, it can offer customers cheaper rates on long-distance calls.
All US calls, irrespective of time of day, we guarantee 45% off of the Bell rate. Canadian, 35%, and internationally, 20%.
And there's a variety of even smaller subcontractors and agents that lease phone lines and offer discounts.
It's always 30% below whatever discounted rate they already received through Bell, and 10% on international calls.
We decided to compare long-distance rates just to sample the kind of savings that are available. We chose to call Regina from Toronto. The call took place at 8:30 p.m. on a weeknight and lasted 5 minutes and 34 seconds. With Bell, the call cost $2.14. With Unitel, $1.66, and with VisionTel, $1.70. In order to get those savings, it means more dialing. First, you have to dial 7 digits. To get off the Bell line and onto the alternative system, 10 more digits are required. To identify yourself for billing purposes, then you dial your normal long-distance number. Bell is reacting to the onslaught of competition with full-page newspaper ads and a public campaign to keep its clients from slipping away.
Tens of thousands of protesters packed the streets of Brussels today, demanding action on climate change. And they chose today for a reason, because just a few borders away, delegates from nearly 200 countries are in Poland to discuss those very concerns. So tonight, we go in depth on humanity's effect on the planet through a couple of different lenses. Through Adrian's conversation with the creators of a unique art project, which explores our impact on the world's natural systems. But first, Nala Ayed takes us to southern Poland for the start of COP24. Now that's short for the 24th conference of the parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. And if that title doesn't exactly flow easily, well, neither have global talks on the topic. The conference is being held in Katowice, which is near Krakow. Known by some as the Beijing of Europe, Krakow has some of the worst air quality in the world because of its heavy use of coal. Coal companies are even among this year's conference sponsors. But Nala explores the innovative ways some people there are cutting coal out of the picture.
The start of Krakow's winter always comes with shorter, busier days. And with a sense of dread. At the Kochane daycare, winter means keeping a closer eye on the air quality monitor in that window. And like on this day, it often means the kids skipping their daily walk and staying indoors. And when they do go out, it's often with masks on, as the owner's son, Stefan, volunteered to show us.
One is dirty.
In the meantime, Teresa Szlachta has built a virtual fortress against the toxic air with a custom-made filtering system. She calls it Poland's first anti-smog preschool, and parents have clamored to sign kids up.
Half of year, we are wasting this time and we are sitting at home, and it's so sad for me, for my kids, for every child here. It's very sad. It would be great to have clean air.
Krakow has a smog problem, a problem that just rages in winter. Krakow's curse is a windless valley and the rampant use of coal in and around it. But something is happening here, a change that isn't always obvious in the day-to-day monitoring of air quality. On Krakow's most polluted street, we found new hope deep in the bowels of an old museum. Poland's oldest operational stained glass workshop and museum has been here since 1903.
How warm was it?
Oh, it heats up quite well.
And like many homes in Krakow, it's long been heated using coal. The coal-fired stove and the thousands of others like it are partly what make Krakow's air unbearable.
Last winter was the last winter we used these kilns. From this year on, we'll have a new heating system.
The city of Krakow passed a ban on using coal and is helping residents phase out coal stoves by September 2019. Here, they're putting the final touches on the new system, and it will be operational in days. It's a pump, he says, that will push hot water to keep the museum warm. The ban is credited to Krakow Smog Alarm, a group of friends who mounted a campaign 6 Decembers ago demanding the city act.
We gained lots of support from the media and from people who also were fed up with air quality, but nobody before us just shouted out this problem.
She says only about 4,000 coal stoves remain, and the air has improved slightly. But in nearby towns, they're still using coal or even garbage to heat homes, and that smog seeps into Krakow. But in the name of clean air, they are dwindling. And in the same spirit, a steel company is recasting them into bicycle racks, and it advertises the fact. Elementary school number 67 enlisted parents and friends to vote and help them win a contest to get a set of the bike racks. They're mostly empty until winter ends, but for the students, they're a lesson in themselves, says Principal Kornelia Szlarska. All of the kids are aware where these racks come from, she says. There's not as much smoke, he says, and the sky is clearer, and we can breathe fresh air, she says. Back at the museum, the old stoves will stay on display. Relics of history. Nala Ayed, CBC News, Krakow.
Now, while there's promise for local efforts to fight climate change, it's been a long-standing concern that human activity has already changed the environment permanently. And 3 distinguished artists have made it their mission to put humanity's impact on display. Here's Adrian with that conversation.
The Anthropocene is the time in the geological record when humans have moved the planet outside its natural limits.
That stunning scene is from Anthropocene, a documentary film exploring the jarring, sometimes startling things we do to the Earth.
Humans go from being participants in the whole Earth to being a dominant feature.
Filmmaker Jennifer Beischwal, cinematographer Nicolas de Poncier, and photographer Ed Bertinsky are the artists behind it, the ones immersed in a project that's more than film.
It's a 3-dimensional sculpture. It's a virtual sculpture.
It's a multimedia exhibit that scoured the planet, finding the scars on the planet, all irreversible marks of human activity. Some now displayed in ways it's as close as anyone will ever get to feeling the heat and smelling the burning of thousands of tusks in Kenya, for example. That's where our conversation started at the Art Gallery of Ontario.
It is a virtual sculpture that was made from taking thousands of photographs.
With the powerful roar of the fire, almost a groan as a constant soundtrack, the filmmakers invite you to walk up to this scene, to the thousands of tusks seized from poachers and burned, millions of dollars torched. What looks like just a photo of the pile is so much more.
Augmented reality is just one more way of pushing photography to be experiential. Like this pile doesn't exist anymore. It was burned the next day. So there's an ephemeral quality to this, but you can walk right up to it and see the writing on the tusks, the nicks on the tusks. It's incredibly high resolution.
Oh yeah, look at that.
But what it does is give you a kind of visceral understanding of this pile and the deaths of the elephants that it represents.
Is this what we're going to have to do you think, in the future? I mean, to look at elephants, to look at Palmyra in Syria, to look at what's being lost? I mean, is it going to come to this?
I think that people call VR and AR the empathy tool because it allows people to be right there, there in a way that they're not there. And so maybe it will be part of that.
This is as apocalyptic as it seems when you think of the piles burning and you see the images of the piles burning. It's actually an act of hope. This burning of the ivory tusks is a statement to poachers that there is no market for ivory, and we're taking all this ivory off the market. So it's hopeful that we won't only have to have virtual representations of elephants, that actually we'll be able to save them and stop this terrible decline.
Understandable to want to highlight the hope, but what they've undertaken tells a darker story. The scale of what humans have done is sometimes so big, you have to freeze a moment in time to really see it and really understand it. That's what Edward Bertinsky was destined to do.
I look at this and I see every magazine cover kitchen. I mean,
Yes.
there are kitchens all over this.
Well, this is Carrara Marble Quarry, the most famous marble in the world, and where Michelangelo would go to get his marble to do David or the Pietà. So it's world famous marble. Everybody's seen it. You know, you may not know it's from Carrara. And The interesting thing about these quarries, because there's hundreds of them on 3 mountains, the whole mountain is marble. They estimate they've only taken about 3% of it, and they've been quarrying here for 2,500 years. So the first quarrying was that long ago, pre-Christ. So there's still a lot more of it here. And in terms of extraction, I'd say it's kind of one of the more benign human extraction. Yes, it's hard on the landscape and the forests that were there, but it doesn't really, other than the burning of the CO2 to remove it, it's not really a dangerous process.
Well, if this is benign, though, there's a whole other gallery of not.
That's correct. This is one of the most contested landscapes that I've ever photographed. And contested, I mean that the history here is that in the Niger Delta, they remove about 2.5 million barrels of oil per day from the Delta, which is about the same amount as is leaving Alberta every day. But what's happened is that the locals have learned through the military, it taught them how to do it, how to steal oil from the pipelines and then do what's called illegal bunkering. And it's hard to blame the community because, again, there's
they're just trying to earn a living.
And there's nothing left for them. All the wildlife's gone. You can't eat fish out of here. So all their normal practice of making a life in this area, in this delta. In fact, the delta says there are 0 wild mammals left. And it used to be one of the greatest, concentrations of wildlife in Africa. The Niger Delta is the largest delta in Africa.
And we've done that, right?
Humans have done that, yeah. In this one, so many things came together. The workers and this person had just arrived and was having a chat with them. They're recycling paper here. The bike was parked here not long ago. There's a little dog that's there. There's another 2 dogs up there, just killing time. So it was this kind of moment in this dump where there's about 6,000 people who have their daily, lives within this dump. And it's an environment where everything is just about sorting and separating colored plastics from clear plastics, or this kind of paper from that kind of paper. And you get paid by the kilogram of whatever you've separated per day. So it's a very kind of marginal existence.
Do you feel uncomfortable sometimes making terrible things look so beautiful?
Well, it's a thing that we've created. It's the other side of our lives that we just don't see. And if it wasn't, I think, visually taught and holding you there to kind of explore it, then you don't spend any time with it. It's like another everyday picture. So I want you to be drawn in, and you might not know exactly why, but there's something that draws you to the image and makes you want to go in deeper with it.
I see this and I can hear these guys arguing down here, and I don't know, I kind of want to be there.
Yeah, well, I want this to be an immersive situation where you can see life on the streets. And this image was technically very interesting in that, first I needed to find the point of view of where I wanted the image. So I had a wide angle lens on my drone. This is the whole team. So there was a New Yorker reporter, Rafi Khachaturian, and that's him. He's the reporter. That's me controlling the head.
There's your drone operator.
That's my drone operator. And these are 2 guards who are with AK-47s to protect us, and then all our cars are right here. So once we got in here, we were trying to fly the drone off here, but it was too hard to operate, so we found this rooftop. But again, the idea to come to Lagos was, currently, it's the fastest growing city in Africa, but one of the fastest in the world. That's 6,000 people coming to it per day. So, and it's kind of an ad hoc city. People are just attaching themselves to the edge of the city. And they expect by 2050 to have 50 million, and by 2100, 80 million. So the idea of a city of 80 million is kind of, I just can't process.
It's impossible to fathom. It doesn't have, there's no way the infrastructure can handle it. But I guess this is the future, right? People migrating towards cities, and leaving
The countryside, because the rural areas are impoverished. They've been overgrazed, over-farmed, they're running out of water. All kinds of reasons are pushing people to the city.
The Anthropocene exhibit is currently at the Art Gallery of Ontario in Toronto until January 6th and at the National Gallery in Ottawa until February 24th.
It is on my list of things to see still ahead. It's a growing trend for production companies, and they've got the viewers to prove it. More people are tuning in for stories from around the world, no matter the language.
I started watching it, and it was like the first episode had me hooked.
Şam'dan Konya'ya kadar her musibetin altında bu soysuz var.
And you don't understand a word of this.
No, I'm reading the subtitles.
The punches were thrown in Czechoslovakia, but their impact was felt halfway around the world in Canada.
What's your reaction to yesterday's international hockey fisticuffs fiasco?
Today, the junior hockey Donnybrook was the talk of the open line shows from hockey coaches.
But we must remember that in hockey, fighting is part of the game. It has been for a long time.
To the mothers of young players.
But I am observing us losing a great deal of talent, beautiful young men, like I say, at 12 or 15, just refusing to play hockey anymore.
CBC sportscaster Bruce Dobigan has seldom seen such an outpouring of emotion.
I thought that all of a sudden I realized what a deep sort of strain this hits in Canadian people, that hockey touches people like nothing else. I think it's the one thing that we really associate with our national pride.
The hockey fight of the month, Joe Cirillo of the Devils in the light, Bobby Basson of the Islanders in the dark.
Violence is nothing new to pro hockey. The American networks even assemble special packages of the NHL's lowlights. Junior hockey is supposed to be different, and generally it has been. In 1982 and in 1985, Canadian juniors won the World Championship. They had little trouble with the strict international rules against fighting. In fact, the Canadians even won the Fair Play Medal a couple of years ago. As for yesterday, Al Eagleson, Canada's top diplomat on international hockey, thinks the Canadian players had no choice.
It's a sad answer to a problem created by a lack of self-discipline, which is totally understandable. I think if my son had been there, he would have jumped the boards to help his friends.
If there's one word that keeps coming up, it's discipline. You have to teach discipline to kids, whether they're 14 or whether they're 24, playing internationally. They have to be disciplined. They have to understand that these are the rules of the games over here. You're not playing by your own rules anymore.
As the lights went out in Czechoslovakia yesterday, a new debate about Canada's game was just beginning.
They turned the lights off in the arena, but that isn't going to solve anything.
We spoke to two of the Canadian players just after their arrival at Toronto Airport, goalie Sean Simpson and defenseman Kerry Huffman.
Sean, where were you in all the kerfuffle?
I was on the bench at the time. Jim Waite started the game, and I don't know, I was just watching the game and it all came, and I just came off the bench.
What do you mean, I just came off the bench? I mean, what goes on in a guy's head? What do you see? What boils out, and why do you move? Because you were programmed to not move out there, right?
I don't know, just we're on the bench and we see 5-on-5 guys fighting on the ice, and we see the other team leave their bench, and it's just a natural reaction that we go out and help the guys in our team and stick up for the guys in our team, and I don't know, you don't even really think twice of it, it's just something you do.
How many were you each taking on, Kerry? I mean, where were you? Did you get hurt?
No, I didn't really get hurt. There was one time when there was I had a hold of two of them, and then but then your players came on and helped you out. So that was good. There's always somebody there to help you out.
Here are some other stories we are tracking for you this week on The National, including reaction to the breaking story tonight.
Beginning on January 1st, the province of Alberta will mandate an across-the-board reduction of 325,000 barrels per day in production.
That is Alberta Premier Rachel Notley announcing a mandatory cut in oil production to help deal with historic low prices. Other Alberta party leaders say they support the cuts. In a statement, federal Conservative leader Andrew Scheer blamed the Trudeau government for creating the problem. We will be watching for more reaction from Ottawa and Alberta as the story develops. And Prime Minister Trudeau will meet Rachel Notley face-to-face on Friday, along with Canada's other premiers and Indigenous leaders. That's for the First Ministers meeting in Montreal. Talks could be overshadowed, though, by a growing backlash to the Liberals' carbon tax. Ontario, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, New Brunswick all opposed to the federal carbon plan. NASA's OSIRIS-REx spacecraft has a rendezvous tomorrow with an asteroid. The probe has been on a slow approach since September of 2016, and tomorrow OSIRIS-REx will arrive in orbit around noon Eastern. It'll study the asteroid for a year and a half before grabbing a surface sample to take home. If it's successful, it'll be the first American spacecraft to bring part of an asteroid back to Earth. That's cool.
That's very cool. Critics are describing HBO's new series, My Brilliant Friend, as powerful and brilliant. Fans have been waiting for this adaptation of Elena Ferrante's popular novel, but it's still considered a big risk for HBO. That's because it's the first time they've made a series entirely in a foreign language, in this case, Italian, with English subtitles. But, as Deanna Sumanak-Johnson explains, North American TV viewers seem more than ready for it.
È meglio tu non ci vai.
Tanti le samo, faccio stesso.
My Brilliant Friend is about a lifelong friendship of two smart, passionate girls in post-war Italy. But the story of how it came to the small screen also involved a lot of passion. American TV producer Jennifer Shore was a fervent fan of the novels and inquired about adapting them for TV with her agent.
And they just flat out laughed at me. They said, you and every other producer, writer on this planet would like to have the rights to these, and they're never going to be done in English language.
But that wasn't it. HBO agreed to do the show in Italian, with Shore serving as the only American producer.
People know that very good material comes out of other countries, not just out of Hollywood.
Time was, subtitles were a kiss of death for North American audiences. But streaming services like Netflix changed that, with a bevy of international hits at the viewer's fingertips. It's how Omar Syed discovered his TV obsession, the Turkish historical epic Ertuğrul.
I started watching it, and it was like the first episode had me hooked.
Şam'dan Konya'ya kadar her musibetin altında bu soysuz vardı.
And you don't understand a word of it.
No, I'm reading the subtitles.
Seni zehirleyen kimdi biliyor musun?
I found that by reading the subtitles, you had to really be engaged in the show. You had to really pay attention.
Networks are now aware of viewers like Syed. Netflix has plans to produce 100 non-English series around the world. Amazon Prime has its own roster of subtitled hits, and Canada's own French-language producers in Quebec hope the trend expands to include both the streamers and traditional broadcasters.
Well, the foreign language productions it's a good news for us because we are, a French minority in Canada. I think the audiences around the world are looking for authenticity. Today, there's no way you get by producing a show by not portraying the right ethnicity, the right language.
And Omar Syed thinks this trend is opening up people's minds too. He has found fellow fans of Ertuğrul around the world.
Every culture has its heroes, every culture has its story, and this is the Ottoman story. So it's crossing a lot of different language barriers and different cultures.
In a world divided, there is nothing lost in translation here. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson, Brampton, Ontario.
You just got to be really awake to watch those, I find. Anyway, still ahead on The National. In a New York Minute, a marriage proposal goes wrong and turns into the viral feel-good story of the weekend.
No way. I really hope you got insurance. But did she say yes?
She said yes.
She said yes? Then it's okay.
Pro tip, when you're popping the question, don't do it over a sewer grate. That story coming up in our moment.
It's Christmas again, which, as far as I can tell from reading the newspapers and watching TV, is the season people the world over celebrate the birth of Jim Carrey.
Judging by the box office receipts, the Grinch has not only stolen Christmas, we're paying him immense sums of money to do it. You know it's Christmas in Toronto because the malls are full, the downtown is paralytic with credit card overload, and the great plastic and styrofoam mastodons known as Mel's Moose are undergoing gender surgery and trying to pass themselves off as reindeer. Where I come from, moose have a purpose. They're alive and they're edible. And they're rarely, if ever, encountered in front of the downtown bank machine and never, to my knowledge, next to the check-in counter of any local hotel. Toronto at Christmas is a zoo, thanks to Mr. Lastman, both literally and figuratively. It's better than Ottawa, I suppose. I don't think it'll ever be Christmas in Ottawa again. The Liberals are back with more seats than ever for a third term. And the need for Mr. Chrétien to play Santa Claus or Jane Stewart, head elf, are lost and gone forever. The Prime Minister, Mr. Chrétien, will be sending out a few presents. An autographed copy of Red Book 3 will be hand-delivered by Governor-General Adrian Clarkson and Consort John Ralston Saul to everyone who voted Liberal in Ontario, which is everyone in Ontario. Simultaneously, they will enter it for the Giller Prize, the prestigious Fiction Award, which very surprisingly has overlooked the two even more stunning fantasies by the same author, Red Book 1 and Red Book 2. Stockwell Day will not be in Ottawa this Christmas. The Stockwell Days plan to spend a quiet Christmas moaning at home and viewing outtakes from some of the summer's more buff Alliance commercials. Mr. Day may or may not eventually rappel his way to 24 Sussex Drive, but should he ever decide politics is not his game, there'll always be a home for him in Mountain Dew commercials. Joe Clark is having a merry old Christmas. He's been ho-ho-hoing, as only Joe Clark can ho-ho-ho, since November. He didn't win more seats, but he outclassed the competition. There are as few fitness commercials in Joe Clark's future as there are rap videos. But in campaign 2000, Joe Clark was the guy who went up to the bar and ordered sarsaparilla and then cleaned out the saloon. I think Joe should be in the next Jackie Chan movie. The NDP, bless their recycled hearts, may have a bleak Christmas. All is not happy in the NDP manger. St. Nick person will not skip them altogether, but I fear Buzz Hargrove may have put out the word that as far as Alexa McDonough is concerned, the elves are strictly work to rule this year. But enough about politics. Christmas, if it has any cheer, is an escape from politics. Despite what I said at the beginning, Toronto is a good place to celebrate Christmas. It gets more peaceful here each year. For example, there have been at least 2 snowfalls already in this city, and no one yet has called in the army. Christmas in Toronto without the military. Throw in a couple of styrofoam moose munching on the AstroTurf at the Dome, and you've got the perfect UNICEF card. Be cheerful. For The National, I'm Rex Murphy.
That little bit of bling you're looking at there is the centerpiece to a frantic search this weekend for the NYPD involving a marriage proposal gone wrong, some missing tourists, and a sewer grate. Don't worry, it's actually a very sweet story. It's got a fairy tale ending, and it is our moment of the day.
It's like finding a needle in a haystack.
It all went down on Friday when a groom-to-be fumbled his fiance's engagement ring right down that sewer grate in the middle of Times Square, and the footage went viral. Embarrassing? You could say that. But that video helped track down the couple when they went home to Europe, ringless. A social media blitz and a lot of retweets did the trick. Finding the ring itself took some dirty work.
There was a lot of muck and a lot of just typical stuff that you would find at the bottom of a sewer grate down there. But fortunately, it was actually kind of sitting up on top of all that stuff.
Police gave an update this afternoon from that hot spot for romance, the Times Square Olive Garden. Here's the money shot, a close-up of the ring that caused all the commotion, cleaned up like new, and leaving the cops with a nice shiny feeling too.
We're always looking to help in whatever we're trying to do, so we deal with a lot of negativity, so it's nice to deal with something that's a little more positive.
Now that ring is ready to go home to the happy couple with a pretty good story for the future grandkids too. I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah, poor guy.
However, however, he went to Times Square and he decided to do this outside the Olive Garden over a sewer grate.
Have you had the breadsticks there? It's a pretty good place.
I'm just saying, he should be happy the woman said yes, because
Look,
that doesn't really bode well for the planning of their future.
Look, it is a stressful. So as a guy who's been there before and who's done that, your hands get all sweaty. They're probably cold at the same time. The ring is this tiny little thing.
You didn't do it over a sewer grate, though. So.
Well, I did it out in the woods. So
you see, you already have my respect, though.
Okay.
Yes.
That's the National for this Sunday, December 2nd. Have a good night.
Good night.